To create a tree inside of Unity, we can go up to our game object, go down to where it says 3D object tree. When we create a tree inside of Unity, by default, what it's going to do is create a, if you notice scale comparison to players here, it's going to create a nice large tree for us. It's going to create a tree inside of the project as a prefab. It's also going to create and set up a tree. When you have it selected, you'll see a tree component with a lot of properties inside of it. Now at the moment, we don't technically have any kind of tree material, so let's make sure we add those. Inside of the project, I'm just going to click on Create, go down to Material, and call this, we'll say, Tree Branch. And then just push Control D to make a duplicate, and we'll say Tree Leaves. The tree branch, we want to change our shader type to a tree. So we're going to go down to where it shows, actually we'll just type it in here. We'll say tree. This is going to be the tree creator bark and leaves right there. So we'll say bark for the tree branch. And then for leaves, select your material there and then say tree creator leaves. Now the catch is we don't technically have any branches and we don't have any leaves to be able to use inside of our package. This is just the objects that came with the 3D game kit. So what we want to do is download some trees. That way we can use some of those parts and pieces. I'm going to go to the Asset Store. Remember, Windows Asset Store. From here, go ahead and search for the standard assets. Click on the, if you don't have it, go ahead and add it to your packages, download it, and then click on the import button. When it imports, we just want to say none. We don't want anything except for one part. We're going to go down to where we see the package that says environment and click on the checkbox for environment. And to import those, this is going to import some trees that are speed trees. They are already pre-made trees, and we'll look at those, but we're also going to have those textures that we can now use on our maps for our trees. So if we go back to scene, if we click on our tree branch again, now we have, if we go to our base texture for it, we'll notice now we have textures that we can actually use for the bark. So if we type in bark, we'll notice we have a lot of different ones right here. We could use a palm bark, and then we could use the normal map from the same one. We can say fix now. On the tree leaves, we'll go to our base one, and I think if we type in leaves, we'll get a leaf pattern here. So we'll use this one just as a basic for it. So we'll do the broad leaves, and then we'll do the normal map for them. All right, so this should create the basic setup for those. If we go back to our tree, scroll down, each branch is going to have a set of trees that we get to use. So for instance, this bark one can be different from others. I'm going to click on the first one and click on the branch, drag it over to it. And then we'll do the other branch, drag it over to the break material. Notice, once you have it on, you can refresh. It's going to actually show you the texture that's on there. Now, if we want to have, it looks a little bit too busy in terms of the actual texture. So let's take our texture type and make it a little bit less of that noisiness that's coming from it. And let's see what we'll use. We'll do if we use the options from our tree, let's see what we have right here. Actually, this one might be a good one. The monument, let's double check this one and see. We'll go back to our tree and update it by hitting the refresh button. That fits a little bit better into the scene. All right, so with this one inside of it, what we have next is a ability to actually move and manipulate the tree itself. We can seed it. So if you see the group seed right here, you can actually seed and it creates a different variation for it each time. So if you're just looking for a randomness to it, you can do that. But if I'm wanting to actually manipulate it directly, I can left click and on those little squares and just directly move each of the branch pieces. And when you move one, notice it's going to auto adjust other parts and pieces to make sure it's um, recreating itself to be correct. Now this is only a single branch, if the root, the trunk of it. If I want to create additional, we have the option right here. It says add branch group. If I click on add branch group, I'll notice I get a second one right here. Now you can move, rotate, and manipulate these. So for instance, I can rotate a branch. So I have the branch here, but if I'm wanting to actually rotate it into a different area, I could then rotate it. I could also change the group seed for this one where it's doing it automatically. So if you're not sure where you want it and you just want to randomly generate it in different spots, you could do that. You can do the growth scale. So if I wanted it bigger or smaller, we can actually adjust it that way. And then the growth angle, how much is it going upwards, how much is going down. So from here, notice it comes in wide as well. You can go down and you'll see the same branch material. I can actually use the same branch material on this. That way the tree has a nice similar pattern to it. Now from here, when we go back to our tree, you can go from a tree. Right now we're going one at a time. I can do multiple at this point too. If I go down to this tree, the base one right here, I can click on add another branch. It's going to add another branch directly onto the same tree. So now we get a branch that splits right here. You can do that multiple times. So if I do this again, and say for instance I do it again, now I've got four. Notice I only see these, but it's because all of them are seeded to the same spot. So if I go and I select this one and we seed a different spot, so say we seed it to over here. There we go. And then we'll do another one with a change on it. So now we have different ones going different places. Again, growth angle. We could actually start to increase this and the value to bring it up. And we can go back to this one and do the same thing. So now all of a sudden you start developing a tree this way. So maybe this one is supposed to be something where the player could actually run up and jump to. If we were to do that, we'll select the tree right here. Let's see which one it is. And then we'll take our materials. Let's go ahead and assign the materials to each one. We'll move this one down. So this could be something that's actually in the ground, and the player is actually going to go up and around it. We'll take our tree branch, assign it to the tree branch as well, and we'll do this one for the other two. So now we have a tree with a tree branch material on it. And if we were to take a look at it just with the tree itself, this part, let's go ahead and move this over. So we'll take our move tool And let's see, we'll move it over to the side and push play. So now we have our player inside with a tree that we just made. So the next step we'll do is add leaves to it so that it can be a little bit fuller.